Going on, y'all? Jesus with Corpus Christi Originals podcast. In this episode, we have Abel Otsuna with the Local Influencers podcast and Coastal Bend Creator Con. Abel talks about a little bit about himself, about what he's working on, entrepreneurship, a bunch of different topics. He's an awesome guy, an awesome person. Behind all the stuff that he's doing for the city, and stay tuned to this podcast if this is something you want to hear. Thanks a lot. All right, we're going. All right, Abel, welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Like I was telling you before, I'm usually the one on the other end, so it's exciting.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you've been podcasting for what, 7+ years or something like that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I can't do math right now. I've been awake since 4. So yeah, like 2014, I think. I used to have a podcasting deal with ABC Family, or Freeform. I used to have a deal with them, and that's how I kind of got into it. But yeah, I've been doing it for a very long time.
That's so awesome. ABC Family. That's big. It sounds big.
Yeah, it was. It was a good gig for a while. I got to like review TV shows, and then so I would get access to. They had like a special website, and you review, like you watch TV shows before they come out. And so I would record my podcast, and then my podcast would come out the same day the TV show comes out. So I'd get an advanced screening of all their shows, and then I got to interview a bunch of like TV, like a bunch of the actors on the shows, like directors, writers, all that stuff.
That's so awesome. Was that like your day job or?
No, I did that all on the side. I've always had a full-time job.
Wow. What do you do?
I'm in retail management. I've been a retail manager since 2008.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Started from the bottom, huh?
Yeah, I've literally, yeah, I've done I've been through it, and I've been through a lot.
Wow, that's tough. Yeah. So you were up since 4 in the morning, you said?
Yeah, so it's my birthday today, and
Yeah,
I woke up at 4
happy birthday.
a.m.
I'm so sorry.
No, thanks. I woke up at 4 a.m. and because I knew that this week, or like this next couple of days, I'm going to be eating bad and drinking some alcohol, so I had to go to the gym. I went to the gym at 4 a.m. I slept like 4 hours because last night, or this midnight, I had like a big announcement come out, and then I had a meeting at 10 a.m. And so yeah, I've been busy all
Yeah,
day.
yeah. It seems I listened to some of your local influencers podcasts just to kind of get a feel for kind of who you are before we came on. So it sounds like you're really busy. You have a lot of stuff going on. I found out about the traveling library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You
I
want to talk
actually
about that?
just departed ways with them,
Mhm.
but they are actually doing great things. So yeah, the Traveling Library is like a local nonprofit, and they are hoping to raise literacy rates for people in like kids in the coastal bend, kids that they're trying to give books to kids that don't have access to books. It's like in
Right.
low income zip codes. So I unfortunately, because of my new venture, I had to kind of separate ways just because I have way too much on my plate.
Right. So
But yeah.
what's your current venture?
So we just announced today on my birthday. So we are creating our very first convention here in town called Coastal Bend Creator Con.
Hmm.
And I just announced the entire team that's behind it. There's 14 of us, and we're all creators of all kinds. So we have podcasters, bloggers, stylists, brand owners, content creators of all kinds. And we're all 14 of us are coming up, and we're hosting our very first convention in summer of 2023. And it's going to be a convention at like, I guess I shouldn't say yet. I almost did. It's going to be a convention, summer 2023, and we're going to have like just different creators, speakers. We're going to have panels, like how to start a TikTok and how to do YouTube. We're going to have musicians talk about their art forms, and then we're going to have a bunch of vendors and stuff. So yeah, we just announced the team today on my birthday. So.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, I saw that list. There's a lot of people on there. And so why do you? So why? What's the reason behind the Creator Con?
So I lived in Houston. I also travel quite a bit. So I've been to conventions like in LA, in Houston. They have lots of conventions. I know that we have like Corpus Christi Comic Con, and we also have like an expo here. Those are kind of like pop culture fandom kind of related things, and those are cool. Like I love those things. But I feel like the coastal bend, we are like 3 or 4 years behind a lot like
Mm.
the larger cities,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's about time that we have something here. Like why, there's VidCon and there's all these cons in LA and stuff, and why not the coastal bend? And so creating in general is very important to me. I'm a very creative person, so I have like 4 books published. I'm writing 2 right now. I have, I don't know, I think like 6 podcasts maybe. I don't know. At this point, I lost track of how many
Last
podcasts I
time.
do. I lost some track about how many podcasts I do. And so creating of all kinds is important to me. And I appreciate I like being around creatives. And so it's important to me that the Coastal Bend Creator Con, it was like the whole idea of it is it's a convention created by creators for creators. And so also our vendors will be highlighting small business owners here locally who are like our main vendors are going to be.
Wow, that's awesome. It's kind of a selfless thing, I think, to be able to share your craft. You know what I mean? Share what you know with other people. That's
Mhm.
so that's pretty cool what you're doing. I really like that. Uh,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
I always say like I if someone doesn't if you ask someone a question and they're afraid to give you the answer, afraid to give you like their trade secrets or whatever, you're probably not around the right person because usually people want the others around them to succeed.
Hmm.
And so if you like that saying is if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find another room to get in,
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
being in this group of people that I've become friends with because of the local influencers podcast. Some of them I've been friends with a lot of my life, but like probably more than half are probably
Mhm.
people that I've interviewed or are going to be on the podcast. And so I pick their brains about things. And so I always just am like challenging myself and sharing my knowledge with whatever in any way I can. So yeah, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Wow, man, that's good advice. Real good advice. Just keep growing, man. So you write. You had several books out. How often do you write?
My editor would probably like to hear, she'd probably like to hear that I write daily. But I write like whenever I feel like it.
How
I
long have you
push
been
back.
doing it?
My first book was published 2000 and trying to think like 2015. I think my first book was published.
Hmm.
But I wrote that book the time like it was published 2015, but it took me about 2 years to write that first book. Um, and then my second, third book, I knocked them out within like 6 months of each other. My fourth book took about a year or two to write, and now I'm going on a little over a year for my fifth book, and I'm coming around the corner to wrapping that one up, kind of. If my editor listens to this, I'm almost done.
Wow, that's no small task, man. Not at
It's
all.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, especially like when I keep on pushing like a deadline back. I'm like, sorry, it's not gonna happen.
Wow. So you're pretty busy with that. You got other stuff. So can you run me through a typical day that you have with all the things you have going on?
So yeah, I am in retail management, so like that's 40 hours a week. Just right now I'm mainly working mornings, but retail. Anybody in retail knows that our shifts can vary.
Mhm.
So really, I either wake up really early, or there's some days that I'm awake very early, like around 4 a.m.
Mhm.
and then I go to work, get to work 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. I work till 4, and then I start recording at 5. And there's days I record like four podcasts in one night, and I'm done by like 9, close to midnight probably. And then I edit and upload everything myself. So I go to bed like at 1 a.m. So like 4 to 1 a.m. That's probably when I'm in like my hardcore recording,
Mhm.
because I do a lot of bulk recording, especially for the local influencers. I record those like 3 months in advance. Um, and
Wow.
so when I'm recording the local influencers, that's whenever it's really tough for me because I'm like up from probably 4 or 5 in the morning to about probably 12 or 1 a.m. And that lasts about a week. And then after that, it's usually like 5 in the morning till about close to midnight.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why do you do that to yourself?
I'm toxic. I'm toxic, and it's funny because my friends will be like, "I have an idea," and I'm like, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
Like, where there's a project for another podcast that's like kind of in the works, kind of not really, and it's just like something that we're playing with. So it's just like I don't know. I don't know, man. I just And the crazy thing is, I have horrible anxiety, and so like whenever I want to do something, like I want to get it done now. I'm like, I need to
Mm,
do everything now. Like with Coastal Bend CreatorCon,
mhm.
it was funny because I just sent all these people an Instagram message. I'm like, hey, I have this idea, blah blah blah. I was like in the middle of the night. I was like, this is the logo. This is what my idea is, and everyone's like,
Wow.
yeah. I'm like, what? Y'all are for real? And here you are about to sign a contract to get an official date in a couple of weeks. So
Awesome, man. That's awesome. That's making things happen. And it's like entrepreneurs, we never run out of ideas. Like we're
yeah.
always full of ideas, and it's just like we got to get it going. And that's awesome that you're doing that stuff. You're making it happen. That's so awesome. So you have a network. You have a network of podcasts. Man, that's
Mhm.
so awesome. So how do you, on those days that are rough, how do you keep yourself from quitting?
I have a people that were like that kind of are relying or like accountability partners, like on some podcasts I have people that like co-hosts that like if I we book a day, we're like, hey, we're gonna record this day at this time. They block their time out in their calendar, and I even though I'm like exhausted, I can't
Hmm.
bail on them because they've already kind of blocked their calendar out. Also,
Right.
the listeners, growing list, like listenership's growing across all of my podcasts big time lately.
Nice.
And the listeners, if you're not consistent with your content, you'll lose them. And
Mm.
so my listeners this week will be disappointed because like my other podcasts were taking a week off because it's my birthday. I'm like, I'm not recording this week.
Right.
And so I don't record on weeks of like celebrations. I don't record on those weeks. I take time off for myself when I need to. But yeah, man, it's just like being held accountable. I also, like I told you, I have anxiety. So I feel like if I'm not doing something or if I'm not doing it, I'm letting people down, letting myself down.
Right.
And yeah, it's not my goal is to just like keep on going. I always want more. Like, what can
Mhm.
I do? What can I do to get more? I'm not ever satisfied.
Yeah. So do you think that plays into like you being anxious a lot, or
Oh
what do you
yeah,
think
my
that? Yeah.
mental health is crazy. I have two therapists. I told you I'm toxic.
Hmm.
I have two therapists. Therapy really helps me personally. It does help me a lot, but it's just I'm naturally an anxious person, and but it's like weird because I have like the anxiety where if I'm not doing anything, I feel like I could be doing something. But then if I'm doing something, like the other day, I went to watch the new Batman movie and I loved it. It was so good, but I felt like it was so long that I started getting anxious because I'm like, I don't have time for 3 hours for to do
Wow.
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I like get anxious because I want to rest, but then when I'm resting, I get anxious because I should be doing something.
Wow, man. That's tough. That's really tough.
So I just don't sleep.
So like you can't just chill out and rest for a day. Like
I
you'll get anxious because of that.
no. Even when I'm like laying down in bed, like last night I was laying in bed till like almost midnight, and I was so excited because midnight was like my first of all, it's like my birthday. I'm not really one to celebrate birthdays that much, but it was
Hmm.
like special to me because we're announcing the team for Coastal Bend Creator Con. I knew I had this meeting this morning that was very important, and even like last night, I was like, okay, turn Netflix off. I laid in bed, and then I started editing all my photos. I've had all these photos sitting on my phone for a long time, and my friend's like, don't forget, like you have to. And that's another thing is like creating like an influence, like content. Like this is my second year in a row being nominated on the Ben's like the locals list.
Wow.
And so like pushing out content and my friends are like, don't forget like all those photos we took, like you have to upload them, you have to edit them. And I'm like, and so like even in bed, I'm just like editing pictures and getting like
Hmm.
scheduling my content and
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I can never rest. I'm hoping I could take a nap after this, but I seriously doubt it.
Right on, right on. Yeah, I get like that sometimes. I have so many projects and I'll get anxiety. I'll get anxious and I'm like, oh. And then
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
I just gotta slow down and just chill out. Take a breather, you know.
I wish I could do that. Like, mm, I don't know, man.
Hmm.
I've been at it. Like, I was cutting it like close today. I'm like, all right. Like, I went to lunch with my brother. I'm like, all
Hmm.
right, I gotta run to Target. I forgot to get a cell phone because I got a hotel room just because I live out like further from where my event is tonight. So I'm like, I'm gonna get a hotel room close by. So I don't have to worry about drinking and driving.
Hmm.
And I was like, I gotta run to Target. I gotta do this. And it was like 3:20, and I'm like, oh, okay. I should probably start heading back to the hotel. I'm like, and
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah.
how I am. Like I'll lose track of time. Like, oh shoot, I only have a little bit of time to do this. Yeah, I'm like that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, got up at 4. I'm like, oh man, my meeting's not till 10. Dude, I have plenty of time to work out. I can do all the things. And then by the time I know, I'm like rushing downtown.
Like 10 minutes till you're like, oh shit, that had time.
Yeah, that's me.
Awesome, awesome. Let me see. So, oh, you mentioned in a podcast, uh, you feel like everybody has a story in them.
hmm
So, why do you believe that?
I think everyone has a story to tell, whether they tell that or not, as far as like writing or not, or expressing it or not, that's up to every person. But everyone lives a life. Like, we all live a life, day to day things we go through. Sometimes it's very mundane, it's very like routine,
Mhm.
but everyone has something happening in their life, or something that has happened, or something that has changed their perspective on life or perspective on something. And so I just feel like everyone does have a story to tell. And again, whether that manifests into something else, of storytelling of some kind. And, my storytelling just happens to be writing, and podcasting is my outlet.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, I really don't read. Like I like audiobooks rather than actually reading the
I do that
book.
too.
You do
I
that
don't
too?
read. I don't read books. I listen to audiobooks because I'm on the go so much. Like I do listen to a lot of audiobooks. So yeah.
What are you listening to now?
Right now I'm actually listening to. I can tell you, man. I have it pulled up here. I was just at Barnes and Noble, working on some stuff, and I'm listening to. It's a book called Shadow of Night.
Hmm.
It's like a.
So
I like
fiction.
a lot of fantasy books. It's
Cool.
mainly what I write.
Yeah, you had two. You had four books on Amazon,
Yeah.
and two of them were like I don't know. Would you say that they're like it could be like a situation that happens in somebody's life, and the other two were like more fantasy, or no?
Um, they're both all my books are fantasy, but I do take aspects from my life, or like in one of my first books, the town that it's based on is called Midway, and I base that kind of on my life because I went to Tulsa Midway High School,
Okay.
and Tulsa Midway my whole life basically, and so I was thinking of like a small southern town, and I was like, oh well, where
Yeah.
I live is very small. Everyone knows each other, and so I named it Midway. Well, not I didn't name like the book Midway, but like the town the things are based on is Midway, and so
Yeah.
I take like certain aspects of my life, and then certain like I get influenced by like I because of all the books I read. Like if I listen to a book or something, I'm always like, well, what happened to that character? Or like I always wonder. I'm always like interested in the side characters, and so I'm like, well, if I don't know what's gonna happen with them, like I'll write my own book and I'll tell them, and I pull aspects of my of books, and I'm like I'll write their own ending for myself and kind of
Wow,
add
man.
things to it. Yeah.
That's like imagination. Like that's what I was saying. That's no small task. I, you like I could do like books, but not fantasy because I don't know. I just don't have the experience with it. More the books that I read are like informational.
Yeah, I listen to those every now and then, but fantasy is fun to write because like I'll catch myself like when I'm in the zone.
Wow.
Um, it's weird, but like if you're a writer, you probably know like I'll be typing and like these words are just coming out and they're just like I can see it all happening in my head, and there's times like I'm laughing at like
Yeah.
stuff that the characters in my book that I'm writing, you know what I mean? But to me in my head, I'm visualizing it like a movie kind of. Like I visualize it and I see these characters in my head. And so when I see them and I can hear their voices and like I hear their voices and I hear them talking to each other, like teasing each other, I start laughing as I'm typing. Or
Hmm.
when I killed someone off, I was like very, very, very devastated. Like,
Wow.
yeah,
It's like
like
they're real
it's
to
weird.
you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very weird though. I don't know. It's very saying it out loud. It's very weird.
Just to be able to put it on the page is it's something to me because you got to have the words and you got to know how to write sentences and I don't know. You know what I mean? It's very difficult. So how do you edit it yourself or well you had an editor, right? You said.
Yeah. So yeah, I she hates me. So I have been working with the same editor for my last three books. My first editor didn't work out, but
Hmm.
my editor now, I've been working with her for the last three books that I have. And so what I do basically is I just like will write like just a rough draft, like very very rough. Like sometimes like if I can't think of like a like say my characters are going to a restaurant and I
Hmm.
can't think of a name for a restaurant like made up, I'm just like type restaurant name here and I keep going. And I'll put it like in bold letters or something so I see it, and then I go through and I'll reread it myself and I'll fix things on my own. Then I send it to her and then we just go back and forth probably like two or three times, and then it's done. It's pretty simple. Well, I say that, but it's not very simple. But and then
Yeah.
there's some things that like my editor will make suggestions on, and I'm like, I don't like it. Like I hate her suggestions sometimes, but she's usually right, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So, like, did they ever change the story? Do they ever ask you to change the story or anything like that?
not the story, but the way the story is told is changed usually.
Interesting. So,
Yeah.
not like plot twists and all that other stuff.
Yeah, because I like a good cliffhanger, and my
Cool.
editor hates them, and so she like every time I'm gonna leave a cliffhanger, she's like she pushes back a little bit, but I explain myself, and then she's like, okay. But
Wow.
yeah, so we kind of bump back and forth, but that's why I knew that she was the right person because she wasn't afraid to talk like back to me, you know. And I'm a
Cool.
leader, like because I've been in management for so long, I just have like a natural leadership kind of just like one of my skills being a leader, and so like I'm naturally assertive. I'm
Right.
naturally like this is the way I want it, and it's the way it gets done. And so I like that she like pushed back on me. She's not afraid to like that's her job. You know, I'm paying her to literally tell me that I suck.
Nice.
So
Yeah, yeah, for real, man. That's awesome. So, did you find like did you find her like online or how do you do
yeah,
how do you go about
actually,
it?
I found my whole team online because I have a book. I have a like a book cover designer, and then I have and he's designed all my books, and then I have a formatter, so the person that actually gets like the print and like the type of print, everything to fit in the book, and then
Hmm.
my editor. So I they've all been my formatter and my cover artists have been working with me since my very first book, and they're both based in different countries. One of them's actually based out of Ukraine, but he
Wow.
just moved to Poland.
Wow.
And then the other one is based out of Australia. And then my formatter is in I'm sorry, my editor is in the UK. And so we're all in different time zones. And so that's kind of hard, but
Hmm.
I
So is
met him
it
online and we've had this relationship and it works.
so yeah, so you do you publish you self-publish it? I guess once all that.
Yes, I own a publishing company. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
What's the name of the company?
It's just AOIV Publishing. It's my
Yeah.
initials. And so I
Yeah.
own, so like if anyone, someone looked it up, they'd find my publishing company. It's very, I
Wow.
don't know, it's very weird being on the, like I told you, I'm very used to being assertive. So being on this side of it, like you asking me the questions, like
Yeah.
it's very weird. I feel like I'm bragging about myself or not, you know,
Nah,
but
no, for
it's
no,
just
man.
sharing.
Not at
Like when
all.
you Google my name, there quite a bit pops up, but
Yeah.
it's like, man,
Awesome,
this man does
man.
a lot. He's
Nah, I don't
wild.
feel like you're bragging. Just, I mean, it's cool. This is what I want. I want for people to talk about themselves. You know what I mean? People in the city that have different experiences, and that's kind of like your podcast. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Local influencers. It's it's kind of like that. You know what I mean? You share your stuff, what's going on, and sometimes it's people like you that are never behind the on the other side. You know, that
Yeah.
that need to hear your story because you got a lot of stuff going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, how does he do it? You know what I mean? Because I got stuff going on too, and sometimes it's just somebody to relate to. That's another thing.
Yeah.
You can relate to somebody that has ideas and wants to get stuff done, and it's like it's cool to be able to talk to people that you can relate to and even listen to. So don't feel like you're
Yeah.
bragging. I mean, you're good.
Yeah. It's
People,
just whenever
it's
you're
like you
like,
said, people have a story to tell. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I feel like this is one of the ways to get that out there, podcasting, having a conversation. You know what I mean? Because especially when you have a conversation, people can just listen in. It's like a fly on the wall. People are just listening into the conversation, and I think that it'll help. Creators and people like us. So you went to Teloso Midway,
yeah, my whole life
elementary,
basically.
middle school, and high school.
Yes.
Awesome, man. Did you go?
Elementary, I was there like in second grade or something. So basically, yeah, my whole life.
Nice.
So I
So
grew
did you,
up with the same people from when I was young till we graduated.
so you still know that you still talk to them now?
Yeah, actually, a lot of them, we were very close, a lot of us. And then my very, very best friend, her and I have been friends since we were in sixth grade.
Hmm.
So like we were, I don't know, how old are you in sixth grade? Like 11 or 12, I guess. So we've been friends for over 20 years. And
Awesome.
then I have another friend who's actually on the team for Close Event Creator Con. We've been friends since we were very young kids. We grew up in the same neighborhood together.
Wow, it's
Yeah.
amazing to have lifelong friends like that. That's awesome. Oh
Yeah, I have
man.
a handful. I'm lucky. Not a lot of people do. Well,
Yeah, very well. That's kind of sometimes that's all you need. Like you don't really need a lot. I mean, just those few will help bring you up. That's what I mean,
yeah.
it's kind of hard to keep up with all of them if you do have a lot. So
Yeah.
it's all good. Did you go to college or?
Uh, I did, and I dropped out
Uh
multiple times. I hated college.
huh. Why'd you hate it so much?
Because I have like a certain like I don't like people to tell me what to do. That's why
Hmm.
I'm a leader. Like a professor telling me like I have to be in class or I can't, or I'm like, no, I'm paying you. I don't have to be here if I don't want to be here today.
Mm.
And I just have a problem with like authority. Like if someone tells me to do something, I will purposely do whatever it takes not to do it. Except my editor, if she's listening, I do whatever she says. But everyone else knows me by now. Usually, if someone tells me to do something, I will do. I will do everything but do it. I hate being told what to do, but I love to tell people what to do.
Right on. That's
Toxic. I'm
awesome.
telling you, red
It's
flag.
toxic. What's your definition of toxic?
Me.
You.
Red flags. I think just probably just I don't know, man. Just I think everybody probably has a little toxicity in them, but I just I embrace mine. I embrace
Yeah.
it because also as much as I joke around and say I'm toxic. I do put others before me, like a lot. Like anyone on my team will tell you, team being like the Close Creator Con. Our meetings are very much a collaborative. Like I send out an agenda for every meeting,
Hmm.
and every single topic has at the very end before we move on to the next topic has a roundtable discussion, and so we discuss every single thing. I don't make any decisions without a majority, like agreeing. I want people to disagree with me, and I like I said, I do like that. That's why I like my editor because she tells me like you suck, and I like when my team is like, well, April, like let's try it like this, but I don't. I have to be the one in control. Like it's just like a control thing for me. Like at the end of
Right.
the day, in the back of my mind, I know that I could do things without anybody if I needed to, but I
Right.
don't do that. It's just if somebody tells me, April, you got to do this, I'm like, the hell I do.
Yeah, no, that's really a really good leadership quality, I believe. Like, listening to the opinion of others,
Yeah.
especially those that are on your team, instead of just saying you do this without question. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Without
like
questioning.
teachers should be the best students.
Right on. Yep, that makes a good leader, I think. So that roundtable, that's your what's that part of, like, your organization or
Yeah, so it's the round table. So like It's the for the convention. Every meeting, like we have a set, like this last, like yesterday's meeting, we had 9 topics, and
Hmm.
at the end of every topic, we have a roundtable. So it's just like a discussion before we move on to the next topic, where we all like finalize, like, okay, we all agree, we all
Hmm.
are on the same page. Let's move on. And so we that's the time for everyone to kind of voice their opinion. Because I'll go through the agenda and I'll say like, hey, this is what's going on, this, and
Hmm.
then we'll get to the round table part of that section. Everyone just tells me like, well, what if we did this, Abel, or Abel tried
Hmm.
this, or reach out to this person, or and then we all agree and we move on to the next topic. And so it just that's the kind of round table discussion. I get everyone's input.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. And that's for I keep forgetting the name. Create
Coastal Bend Creator Con. It's cool. We
Coast.
just announced today, so
Awesome, man. I can't wait to see how it comes out. So, do you have a place in mind where y'all gonna have it, or? Yeah. All right. Awesome. Cool.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, man, it's gonna be big.
All right, man. That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I was listening. Another thing. I don't know. Let me change gears. I guess here. Uh, you were talking about pricing your books or pricing pricing something, right? Um, so a lot of times people don't understand how because I sell stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's like people want it to be a certain price, but when you create it and you make it, you feel like it's a certain price.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how do you know what a fair price is? Like, say you're selling your books or
Yeah.
something like that. How do you think about that?
Um, I think I've always said like my friends and family, they're the ones that are going to pay the full price, like because they should be your biggest supporter. So friends and family shouldn't be hitting you up with that friends and family discount
Mm,
because they should be your biggest supporters. And if they're asking for a discount, you
hmm.
should probably look at them twice. And then I also feel that as a creator of content in general, um, no one knows how much work goes on behind the scenes. No one knows that I'm, like I said, I'm in bed until 1 a.m. editing a photo because I have to create content for all my
Right.
social media pages. And that's what I signed up for, right? So that's what I do. I don't complain about it. But if I put a price out there and they don't like it, well, it's not
Mm,
meant to be for them.
right.
And for the people that it is meant to be for, it's going to find them and they're going to pay it because they know my value. And if they don't value me, well, then maybe at this time it's just not for you.
Right. Yeah, that's good. I like that. I really
Yeah.
like that. If it's
It's
not
kind of
form, it's
like,
not form.
yeah, it's not for them at this time. Maybe later it'll be for them, but at this time, this is what I think I'm worth, and this is my work is worth. And if you don't see that, well, then you
Yeah.
know you can go and I don't know, do something
Yeah.
else with your time.
Do something else. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Ah, man, I had something else in mind. I forgot what I was gonna ask you. Um, do you? I forgot. Do you have
Uh,
anything you want to share?
Uh, no, just I do have a lot going on. We have the Coastal Bend Creator Con, so it's going to be a convention. It's not going to be just for creators. It's going to be for all types of like families, and we're going to have just we have this. It's going to be panels of people. We're going to have vendors, people to shop. In the evening, we're going to have a block party outside of the location. I can't say where yet,
Nice.
but we'll have like a little block party with some food trucks and a DJ, and so we're going to have vendors and stuff for people to shop and just have a good time. And then, like I said, we'll have those panels for people to learn how to do like TikTok and how to do you start YouTube, how to start an influence. And yeah, it's just that's my biggest thing right now that I'm focused on, other than my podcast. Like I do have quite a few of them. I've shelved a couple of them, not permanently,
Hmm.
but for now because of time constraints. I've kind of prioritized my time and other things, and so
Yeah.
um, but yeah, that's kind of it. Like I said, Coastal Van Creator Con is happening in 2023. So summer of 2023, it is happening. The next few weeks we'll have um, a date, and we'll be able to announce the location once the I sign the dotted line. Right
Yeah.
now it's pending, so yeah,
Awesome.
it's going to be a
Awesome.
lot of fun. But I just I appreciate you having me on, and I whenever I saw you reach out to me and like the podcast, I love love when other people are like locally doing their own thing and like trying to just better our city with their own creativity. So
Awesome. You're welcome. Thanks for coming on.
yeah, thanks.
All right, y'all. Well, it's a good. I guess we'll wrap it up here. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you sharing
Yeah, for sure.
sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Thank you. All right, you guys. That was Abel Ozuna with the Local Influencers Podcast and Coastal Bend Creator Con. Thanks for listening. Check out the merch store, CorpusChristiOriginals.com. I'll leave the link to Abel and his event that's going to be happening in the show notes. And thanks a lot for listening, you guys. Stay tuned for some more episodes. Bye.